Hello and welcome to Politics Today. I'm Farooq Patafi. Today, once again, we are going to talk about Pakistan's politics, as the name of the program suggests. Although we are passing through a very important and critical moment in our history, it seems that politics keeps on reasserting itself. There seems to be a fight going on between PML and between Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and People's Party. And then on television, when you rely on television to give you more news, the media of Pakistan ensures that everything doubles and the crisis actually intensifies. Today, before I actually introduce the panel I've got and the discussion points that we are going to have, let me tell you where we stand as per regarding the coronavirus. 20,884 are found infected in Pakistan as per the official tally or official portal of Government of Pakistan. 476 deaths have taken place and number of recovered is 5,635. Why do I tell you these numbers? Just to highlight the crisis we are facing. But last week when we were discussing 18th Amendment, I thought that that is going to be the end of debate on the matter, and now we will see some political action. But it seems that the debate is refusing to go away. Today we are going to once again look into the debate and see why exactly is it that we are debating. Instead of coronavirus relief activities, we are debating 18th Amendment right now. In order to help us understand these issues, the first guest who joins us on Skype is Qazi Ahmad Akbar, spokesman of Punjab government, also a leader of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Qazi Sahab, let me ask you, why do you think there was a need to debate this matter now? What exactly is the trigger?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much, Farooq bhai, for calling me. The basic problem is that during this pandemic, there has been a constant tussle between the center and the Sindh government. And that has been very unfortunate, I guess, because the Sindh government has been relentlessly throwing all the blame on the central government. Whether it was about providing the PPEs, the gloves, the masks, or any other equipment, plus if it was about the Russian issue, if it was about the lockdown issue, so every challenge that has come during this pandemic, Sindh government has been blaming the center for that. Now, keeping all this in mind, we should remember that after the 18th, the champions of the 18th Amendment were from Pakistan People's Party, and they were the ones who actually championed this whole project. And after this 18th Amendment, the health sector now lies with the provincial setup. So the provincial setup is all free and open to make their own decisions. Now the decisions which are taken, for example, in the NCC are the national decisions in which the Surgeon General of Pakistan is there, the military hierarchy is there, the Prime Minister is there, and the 4 chief ministers are there, and the federal ministers are there. So national decisions are taken, and once those decisions are taken, be those decisions by majority or by the complete consensus of the House.
Right.
In both the cases, once those decisions are taken, they are bound to be implemented.
Right, Qazi
So this
Sahab,
is
I
very unfair
understand
of the
that
Sindh
context.
government that
Let me ask you, if it was only about health, why is it that you are also debating NFC right now?
Sorry, I couldn't get your question.
Right. Since you have actually built up this case that actually primarily it is about healthcare and the crisis emanating from coronavirus, the question now is, why are you also debating simultaneously NFC award?
Farooq Saab, we are not just debating the NFC award. We are basically debating the whole 18th Amendment. This is something we were talking of, making changes in the 18th Amendment. If something positive can be brought in the shortcomings of the 18th Amendment, what is wrong about that? If we really
Okay.
want the federation to be strong, and if we really want the units of the federation to be strong, and if we want
Right.
a setup where the power is actually devolved to the lower levels, then we have to pinpoint those flaws in the 18th Amendment which are
Right.
actually creating problems between the center and the province.
Right,
And once
Qazi
those
Saab, I'm
issues are
going to come
addressed,
back to you,
on
sir. Since you have actually spoken about devolution also, we will be talking about that too. I'm told that Naz Baloch, MNA of Pakistan People's Party, a leader, joins us on telephone. Ma'am, thank you very much for your time. Let me ask you, because the PTI government is actually building up the case against 18th Amendment, and they keep on agitating this point. The question right now is that it might be, and there are many who think it is a strategy to actually make a People's Party look on a weaker wicket. Why are you swallowing the bait, ma'am?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you for having me in your show. And
Right.
with such an important topic that's under debate since a week or so. Well, I think that it's at this point of time, I would just say that it is PTI who does not understand the essence and the power of the 18th Amendment. And
Right.
if you flash back and if you take out some old videos, 2, 3 years old videos of the Prime Minister Imran Khan himself, he would always be very vocally, he's vocally always supported the 18th Amendment. And when he had government in KPK, he would say that the 18th Amendment is the best source of supporting the smaller provinces. And the same
Right.
NFC award was always cherished by PTI. So how
Okay.
come all of a sudden, once they are in power in the federation, now they've reverted back from their own stance, from their own very basic stance of the importance and significance of the worth of the 18th Amendment?
Right.
And the 18th Amendment has given enough power to the provinces to deliver, but unfortunate
Right.
is it that the PTI-led government in KPK could not utilize and could not deliver to the people of KP, and now similarly they are unable to support, to help out and address the basic needs, be it the health sector or the education sector or the
Right.
development sector. Wherever you talk about, they have failed miserably to help out the people in the
I get your
sector.
point, ma'am, but let me ask you another thing. Constitution usually is referred to as a living document that needs amendment from time to time. If it is a living document, so should be 18th Amendment. Why does People's Party react in a manner as if it is an article of faith and it cannot be debated at all?
The past 2 years is that this government is running solely on ordinance. They have turned an ordinance factory. These are
Okay.
the things which have to be brought into the parliament. The 18th Amendment was not brought over a stroke of pen. It was brought after a consensus and deliberation. And the
Right.
deliberation was made in the parliament. So if you want to strengthen the parliament, if the government wants to strengthen the parliament, and if they understand the basic fundamental rights of the parliamentarians, they have to bring these kind of debates in the parliament. We can talk
Right.
on this. But the
Okay.
issue is that when they have power in Punjab, when they have power, why don't they go for local body? Why don't they devolve the power in
That's a
Punjab? Why don't they?
that's a good question.
Why don't they? Where is the local body in Punjab? Why don't they give the powers over there?
Right.
Similarly,
That's
you
a
can
good
see the
question.
health
Let me
sector.
ask Qazi Ahmed Akbar Sahab to respond to this question about devolution further to the local level. You had a plan, sir, and why is it that it is not being implemented right now?
Farooq Saab, before coming to that, I would like to just clear one thing here that there has never been a talk about rolling back of the 18th Amendment. It's
Okay.
rightly you said that the Constitution of Pakistan is a live document, so there is no problem in making any amendments with the changing times. So
Okay.
if there's no talk of rolling back of this amendment. And then as far as this the particular nomenclature of ordnance factory is concerned, if you pick up the data from 2008 till 2018, on the average there has been 10 ordinances passed every year. So if
Okay.
10 ordinances were passed every year, and now you take our government in the past 2 years, we have also passed 18 ordinances. So there's nothing different that we have done, which these people have not been doing. And seeing how the parliament has been behaving, it has been a very to run the government, we have to promulgate ordinances to ensure that timely legislation is done. Now, coming to the point of the local governments, in Punjab, we were supposed to start the devolution process as per the Local Government Act in April 2020, meaning that last month. But due to pandemic breakout, we have now a new notification has been issued by the Punjab government. As per that, now the April 2021 is the last month to devolve all the powers to the tehsils and to the village council.
I get that point. Let me ask you another question.
Just let me add a thing. From the 1st of May,
let me ask you
already the union
which is very important. Hang on. Let me ask you about the nature of how you perceive 18th Amendment. Now, let me ask you, if you get a magic wand and if you have the capacity to change 18th Amendment at will, what are the contentious parts that you want to address and how so?
Basically, I think the basic issue that needs to be addressed is the confusion that lies between the central government and the provincial government. Now, let me tell you, if we say higher education is with the provincial government, then what is HEC doing in Islamabad? If we say that industry and productions is this provincial subject now, then why is it that a very strong industries and production is functioning in the center also? If they say health, then why is it that if health is with the provinces, then during such an epidemic, why is it that the provinces are looking towards the center, that center is going to provide them with the technical staff?
I get that, but these are rhetorical points, sir. I want a concrete answer. What exactly will be the shape of things when you get your way with the 18th Amendment?
Shape of the things will be, for example, in a crisp manner, that we want to remove all the confusions that there are between center and the province. There is nothing related to the rolling back of the 18th Amendment. It's just about the amendments and making it more effective.
Yeah, but you are pretty much agitating right now, you are debating the entire 18th Amendment, right? Let me go back to Naz Baloch Sahiba and ask her about these concerns, about doubling of the authorities. At the center, you have HEC. At the provincial level, you have HEC. Accountability is out of the window. There are many other aspects which are not being addressed the way they were supposed to. Concurrent list might have gone away, but still we have the duplication of power. So who's going to fix that? Is it not opportune time to actually reopen the debate on 18th Amendment and look into these matters?
Well, if you talk of accountability, it's 3 years that KPK Ehtisab Commission is not working. So if they, this is the level of accountability. And then we see the Baitul Mal issue that has raised right now. I mean, even the Supreme Court, even the courts are talking about, they're speaking about it. Even there is corruption in Baitul Mal. If you don't even, cannot even take the responsibility of the orphans and the poor needy people, and if there is corruption going on over there, if there is corruption in the sugar mafia, if there is corruption with the with the export of the wheat, if there is corruption, and if there are mega corruption cases when they increase the medicine prices to 500%, so we don't see any accountability there. Why there is no accountability?
So you realize that you are actually bolstering my case, my argument.
I just want to say one thing, that People's Party is very much firm with their own narrative. We have our solid narrative, which was brought into black and white, and which was made a part of this constitution, and that was done after a very effective deliberation of months, and after which we
not on the floor of the House, ma'am. Not on the floor of the House.
No, it was made on the floor. It was made on the floor of the House, and it was deliberated by the parliamentarians who were involved of all the political parties, and
but
the
not
stakeholders.
all parliamentarians.
And then under Raza Rabbani, it was a very strong deliberation that took place for a long period of time, and finally, the fruitful thing that happened was that the provinces were empowered. We have to see the bright side, and there's only one side, and that's the bright side of the 18th Amendment. There is no dark side of the 18th Amendment. The 18th Amendment has empowered.
So what you are saying essentially, ma'am, is that 18th Amendment is perfect and needs no further amendment at all?
if the government wants to eat the cake and keep it too, that's a separate case scenario. Because
Okay.
what was right in 2013 for PTI is wrong for PTI in 2020. Maybe again after they will not be in the government again, it will be right. I mean, the same applies for the 18th Amendment. Same thing applies for the NAB rules and the NAB laws and the witch hunting that's carried out for a period of time. And we have witnessed it for the last 2 years. That other than the NAB witch hunting, we have not seen any sort of positive, any sort of strong accountability, and we've never seen how much money has
Right.
been brought back into the public kitty.
Right, right. That is a
Who
very
is going to take the
interesting point. Let me go back to Qazi Ahmad Akbar. And Qazi Saab, let me ask you, who actually originally came up with the idea of debating 18th Amendment within your party and government, sir? I want to ask because before that debate, everybody was complimenting Sindh government and thinking that perhaps they have done something better. And then all of a sudden, the real dividing factor is in here. And that's why everybody is looking at People's Party and thinking that they are just swallowing the bait.
It's
Qazi Saab.
basically, Farooq
Yeah,
Saab,
please go.
we need to see that if when we say that this is the 18th amendment in the Constitution of Pakistan, then Constitution of Pakistan itself being a very sacred document ends up being amended 18 times. So if the Constitution of Pakistan itself can be
More than
amended,
18 times.
what
Yeah.
is the problem in making some positive changes in the 18th amendment itself? Number two, there's no specific lobby in Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf government which has come up with this idea. This whole idea got generated because of the tussle that has been going on between the center and the province since this pandemic has come out. So
Right.
different people in the government sector, they realize that despite the fact that the Pakistan People's Party, which champions the 18th Amendment and
Right.
now has all the authority to
Okay.
take care of its health sector, ends
Right.
up blaming the center every day, and the chief minister is sitting on the media, and
Okay.
instead of this, that he tells the people of Sindh what good the government of Sindh is doing for them during this pandemic. His prime target is what wrong the central government has been doing.
Right.
So it's
And
more of a hue
that
and
is
cry than actually giving
Qazi
relief to
Sahab,
the
that is the
people.
bit I want you to address. If there was a crisis within this crisis and there was a disagreement between center and the province, I want you to explain to us how do you plan to fix that problem? I'm talking about nitty-gritty, sir.
For example, if a province expects that during the pandemic, the center is going to, financially support them, then there is a serious problem in the 18th Amendment. Because if the health sector is with the province, then why are they expecting that center is going to help them out in that? Then if they are allowed to take their own decisions, then what is the problem? Then why is there a blame game towards the center?
Right.
So,
So your answer will be to ensure that blame game is not there,
themselves are
or
not aware
then
of.
actually the province doesn't have the powers.
Sorry?
Qazi Sahab, I want to understand what will be your solution to ensure that there is no blame game. Are you going to roll back the powers given to the province, or to ensure that the province constitutionally doesn't have any mandated power to blame the center?
I think that is more crisp, that we have to ensure that all the confusions that lie within this amendment are removed between center and the provinces. So if some particular subject has been given to the province, then it should be completely given to the province, and then the province should not look towards the center either for the financial purposes or for any other support in this regard. So I think
That's
things need to be made very clear.
That's very intriguing, because Nazbullah Sahaba, that seems that Qazi Sahab at least is arguing that there should be more powers given to the provinces so that the center cannot be held
There's no
accountable.
doubt about it.
So
That we are for the provincial powers.
right. So let me ask Nazbullah Sahaba, why do you think that even then we cannot debate 18th Amendment at all?
Well, I fail to understand. I fail to understand the very logic all of a sudden in amid the pandemic of coronavirus. all of a sudden the debate of 18th Amendment starts up. I don't understand. I still fail to understand that what are the aims and objectives of the federal government on this 18th Amendment. What is that they really want to change? Because what we have experimented in the last few months, when the federal government took the Jinnah Hospital of Karachi under the federal, they just wanted to take the Jinnah Hospital of Sindh into the federal system. What happened was that they did not have the budget for it. At the end, they were left on the mercy of Sindh government again. The Jinnah Hospital was left at that mercy on themselves. And then the Sindh government had to take care of the Jinnah Hospital because there was no budget allocated for the Jinnah Hospital Karachi, which was doing very well and is really helping and catering the needs of the patients of the people, not only from Sindh, but even from people coming from Punjab and southern Punjab. What did this government do? I mean, before the election, their manifesto and their aims and objective was to create this new province of the southern Punjab. But what happened is that they ended up with an additional secretary. So this is what they do. They say something, they do something.
I'm not going to go into the debate about a new province. Let me actually come back to what you have just said. And you have pointed out that there was confusion regarding Jinnah Hospital in Karachi. So that means that there are ambiguities in 18th Amendment. Should they not be fixed?
No, the Jinnah Hospital was under the provincial government, and the provincial government created a state-of-the-art hospital, NICVD, which is state-of-the-art hospital with heart transplant facilities. We have hospitals in Gumbat with the liver transplant facilities, which are state-of-the-art, and they are one of their kinds in Pakistan. So I think rather than appreciating the good efforts of the provinces which are doing much well, and specifically the provinces like Balochistan and KPK, which always felt that they were left unaddressed and they were never given their due share, they are very much satisfied with the NFC awards. They are very much satisfied with the 18th Amendment, and they are very much empowered with the 18th Amendment. So I think at this point of time, if the federal representative says that amid the pandemic, the provinces, if they are empowered enough, why don't they cater the need of the people? I think he's right to say so, because this is the time when internationally people from different countries are even coming up and extending their support. So why don't why can't we look forward for support from the federal government? So makes no sense to me.
Right, but then you'll have to actually work at the structure of 18th Amendment in any case. Let me go back to Qazi Ahmad Akbar Sahab and ask him from theoretical to practical. Sir, do you have the numbers in the parliament? Because this all amendment idea will take a lot of numbers, 2/3 of majority in both the houses. And if you have that kind of number, why are you not calling the session of the parliament, sir?
Farooq Saab, the tussle between the federal government and the provincial government. Let me just take a second from that also. That even in America, we have seen that there have been subbobs being exchanged between the President Trump and the local governors. So whenever a situation arises, whenever there's an emergency, there are always chances that one party throws the burden on the other party just to ensure to sort of cover up their the shortcomings. Now there were about 5 hospitals which were basically planned to be brought under the federal government from all the provinces, not just Karachi or the Sindh. All these 5 hospitals were supposed to come under the control of federal government. Federal government said that why should we take control of these 5 hospitals when, as per the 18th Amendment, already this has become a provincial subject. Now, why these 5 hospitals were being brought under control of federal government?
That point
The basic reason was that the provinces were saying that they could not afford to run these hospitals.
Qazi Sahab, do you have the numbers? Do you have the numbers in the parliament, sir?
No, we don't have the numbers. In the parliament, we don't have the numbers. We have to lobby for that.
Okay.
And
So
like-minded parties and like-minded people have started gathering on the issue. The discussion has started. So something positive in this whole scenario is that now we are discussing all these things. And once we discuss them, once we have the due diligence, people will start realizing that Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is not giving any something that is very out of box or which is naive. It is
Okay.
something
Can
that
you
actually
identify the
leads.
like-minded parties which might be aligning with you? Qazi Saab,
Hello.
can you identify
I
the
could.
like-minded parties which might be aligning with you?
So we have our own coalition partners, and yes, once the parliament is in session, then there will be more lobbying done in this regard, and
Okay.
you will see a certain changes coming up in the next few weeks.
Are you referring to PMLN and perhaps they are going to join you in this?
Let's see now. The time is going to decide for us.
Okay. When do you plan to call the parliament session, sir?
Now, this is a big discussion. As per the rules, 6th of May is the day when the parliament session has to be called. But
Okay.
due to the testing positive of the speaker himself,
Right.
the thing is in the backdrop. And I think, as per my information, today the application moved by the 98 members, basically led by PMLN, has been taken back, and now there are discussions that in the parliamentary committee in which Fakhr Imam Sahib is heading, that they might be making some changes in the rules, and a virtual session of the parliament might be called, or a hybrid session, just the way
Okay.
they did it in the House of Commons in UK. A hybrid
Right.
session is also under consideration. So let's see what the parliamentary committee decides in the next couple of days.
Next couple of days are important. Naz Baloch Sahiba, if a parliament session is called and this entire idea is actually floated as a further amendment, are you going to take cognizance of that? Are you going to be part of the process at least, even to oppose it?
Well, I think it is time for the provinces to do deliberation, and the provinces to make strong amendments to help devolve the power and delegate the power to the local body. If they do
Okay.
this homework, if this homework is done in Punjab in a right manner, and if this work is done in KPK in a right manner, I think they will be in a better position and to help out the people and devolve the power, because strong provinces lead towards a strong federation. The strength of the provinces is the strength of federation, and it is not possible to, if you take back the powers from the provinces and rule from the top, and you fail when the government has failed to devolve the powers in the provinces, that they have had government for the past 7 years. How do we trust them that they're going to devolve the powers and give the equal right and share to the provinces?
Can
They have not been giving us the
Naz
due
Baloch
share.
Sahiba, can
They
this
have.
argument not be flipped against your own party as well? Because your party has been in power in Sindh for quite some time, and we have seen how the Karachi is suffering and how the local bodies elsewhere are virtually without any power.
No, our local body is very much powerful, and our local body exists. We have a mayor from MTM. Had our local body not been effective, the mayor would have been on TV doing press conferences against the government every day.
He kept
But
on doing that for quite some
no,
time.
but on certain issues, definitely he's from a different political party. But other than that, he has been given enough amount from the, to help out the people and address the basic needs on ground through the local body system. So our local body
Right.
system is effective. In Punjab, it is totally suspended. In Punjab, the
Right.
local body doesn't exist at all. So why don't they
Right.
go and activate their local body in Punjab first? Why don't they go and improve their health system, which is being run by Barki Saab from America? Why don't they go and help out these schools which have 50% of ghost students in KPK? Why don't they go and first complete the BRT project, which has taken so many years
Right.
and has been given to a
Right,
blacklisted
ma'am.
company? So why don't they start their
Naz Baloch
accountability
Sahib,
from
do
the
stay with us. I'm going to come back to you. Let me go back to Qazi Ahmad Akbar Saab. Once again, sir, you can respond to what was said earlier. But while we are speaking, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has tweeted that if the federal government is not going to change its attitude on 18th Amendment, it is going to be confined only to the federal capital, nowhere else. How do you respond to that, sir?
So this was something that he also said in his press conference, that if the 18th amendment is actually implemented in the letter and spirit, the Prime Minister would only be left with the powers of a mayor of Islamabad. So
Okay.
that itself is the mockery of the system, because the people who are the so-called the champions of this amendment, they don't actually know what 18th Amendment is, and they are confused themselves. Now it is just a matter of prestige for them that they just can't step one step back and actually make an amendment which will make this project, their own brainchild. They will make it more stronger and more vibrant. And as far as the mayor of Karachi is concerned, from the day one, Farooq Sahab, we have seen that the mayor Karachi has been sitting on the press conferences and talking about how powerless he is. He does not have any finances. He even struggles to pay salaries of the staff of the KMC. So, having seen this sort of
And
local
we have
government
seen what
system,
happened regarding garbage collection also in Karachi. That's an interesting point. But Naz Baloch Sahib, here's the strangest thing that I must actually remark on. We have seen Pakistan People's Party as a force, a rational force, which has constantly been contributing to national debate. From 1973's constitution to the 18th Amendment, you have always tried to build consensus and rationally address the matters. Why is it that all of a sudden your entire party's mood and attitude is emotive rather than rational?
See, the issue is that, first of all, I would say that the representative from the government side is taking the issue of Bilawal Bhutto's press conference totally out of context. He needs to listen to the press conference once again to understand the basic, meanings of the words that he said and what was the exact context of his speech. Coming up to this issue, see, Pakistan People's Party believes in constitutionalism. You know, the 1956 Constitution and 1962 Constitution couldn't run long because there was a lot of room over there for betterment and improvement. But the 1973 Constitution till date has proved itself to be one of the best and strong constitution which was successfully brought by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. The People's Party believes in true constitutionalism and believes in giving the power to the people of Pakistan, and that's what we've done. Being a president, Asif Zardari Sahab transferred all the power, gave all the powers to the Prime Minister. Being the Prime Minister, People's Party, when had the premiership, they gave the powers to the provinces. They never would mind that maybe in one or two provinces People's Party was not in government, but they wanted to help out the people and reach to the people and make the people realize that we believe in equality, we believe in justice system, we believe in a strong social justice system.
Naz Baloch Sahib, I'm told that we have to thank you and Qazi Ahmad Akbar Sahab for your participation. Thank you very much, both of you, for being part of the program. We have to move on. But here's a very quick observation. People's Party, in terms of image building, was winning when it was taking the, very proactive approach in Karachi and Sindh. All of a sudden, somebody identified that what is the matter and where is the matters where there might be genuine divide in the society and state. And they actually went for it. And People's Party seems to be the angry one that instead of being the rational one that we were looking at before this entire debate started. Perhaps it needs to address that matter too. I'm told Javed Jadoon Sahab joins us, senior analyst, senior journalist. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Javed Jadoon Sahab, we were debating 18th Amendment. Right now we are facing a pandemic of unprecedented magnitude. Why do you think we are debating 18th Amendment right now?
Thank you very much, Farooq. I think it is very unfortunate that the wrong time has been chosen to start this debate on the 18th Amendment when the country is locked in a struggle against coronavirus pandemic. And the whole world, in fact, Farooq, is engaged in this unprecedented challenge and trying to deal with it. While on the contrary, in Pakistan, we see that there's a kind of a blame game going on between the federal government and the provincial government as well, as far as the fight against coronavirus is concerned. Now, we also see the kind of a debate being raging in Pakistan between the two main opposition political parties and the federal government on the viability of the 18th Amendment. I think they could have waited for the right time to start this debate.
Right.
Maybe more efforts were needed and their focus was needed on the coronavirus rather than on the 18th Amendment.
Jadun Sahab, if I invert the entire debate and your answer and ask you that although this is a pandemic and a national crisis, in that situation both center and provinces must be learning their limitations. At that time, even if the idea was floated, why is it that the most rational party, the party that claims to be the most rational political party in the country, is reacting so emotionally right now on the subject?
I think, Farooq, it all started with the blame game on the coronavirus efforts by the federal government and the provincial government. Federal government blaming the provincial government, the Sindh government, about its lack of efforts in dealing with the pandemic. And then we see the provincial ministers blaming the Prime Minister and the federal government. This whole blame game had created kind of a bad blood between the two. And at the end of the day, we see that the people of Pakistan are going to suffer. Even I think very clearly Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf doesn't have the majority in the parliament to carry out any kind of amendment in the constitution. So starting this debate, while we see that the stated positions on part of the two main opposition parties, PPP and PML, and is that they are not going for this amendment in 18th Amendment. Maybe I think we can engage them when this fight against coronavirus is over.
No, I understand that, sir. I understand that. Earlier, I had Qazi Ahmed Akbar from PTI actually explaining their point of view. They are very confident in coming days they will be able to address the lacunas in 18th Amendment. But the question that I asked you is, why is it that People's Party is reacting so aggressively and so emotionally? I mean, 18th Amendment, of course, is a very precious amendment, but still it is a human creation. It cannot be perfect. If something is added to it or if it is improved upon, why should one party be so angry?
I absolutely agree with you. There is no reason and there is no cause to be angry because every political party, I think, should be prepared for any kind of a debate, whether be it on the amendment of the constitution or engaging with the sitting government, because the politics is art of possible, and I think it would be inappropriate on part of Pakistan People's Party to become very defensive and aggressive as well against the federal government, because I think they know it. They know it very well that the federal government doesn't have the majority in the parliament, and it will be engaging with two main political parties for any kind of amendment in the constitution in the coming days, weeks, or months. So I think as far as democracy is concerned and democratic norms are concerned, there should be a healthy debate, but no mudslinging and no name calling as far as the two governments are concerned.
Yeah, and not threats. Absolutely. Javed Jadun Sahab, I'm told that we are about to end the program today, but I want you to actually, in the last few minutes, I want you to comment on the approach so far to combat coronavirus in the country. Do you agree with the strategies both at the central level and provincial level, sir?
I see some kind of confusion as far as strategies are concerned, strategies of the federal government and the provincial governments. We have seen there has been an increase in the number of coronavirus victims in Pakistan, almost doubling in the last 10 days, and the number has crossed the 20,000 mark. And the deaths, I think, about 470 or something stand today. In the coming days, particularly in the month of May and maybe somewhere in the middle of June, we might be peaking, and the number could cross 100,000. I think that is going to be a huge number, and opening up Pakistan a bit early could have grave consequences for our healthcare system, which could be overwhelmed and could create a huge kind of a tragedy for Pakistan. Pakistan's
Right.
healthcare system.
Absolutely,
So I think
Javed
there should be a
Jadun
very
Sahab.
cautious approach, and the government should move on with a very, very cautious approach.
Yeah, absolutely, Javed Jadoon Sahab. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on telephone, and thank you very much for your valuable comments. Viewers, in countries where we have been suffering in the long term, and we have seen that the infrastructure, healthcare infrastructure, is not that much up to scratch. There, perhaps because of misgovernance of decades, you have these unfortunate paradoxical choices where on one side you have to save lives from coronavirus, on the other side you have the specter of poverty which threatens to eat the poor of the country. So there has to be a balance, and we have seen a very cautious approach so far by the federal government as well as the provincial governments. But it will be great if the political parties across the board could keep their anger a few notches low. It is important because in the end, we all belong to the same nation, and we have to combat these problems collectively. Otherwise, perhaps the situation will keep on worsening. This was today's program. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.